welcome back to my channel. For today's video, Andrew and I, my fiance, we are gonna answer your first-time homebuyer questions that you submitted via the gram. So, let's get into it. We are currently sitting in our kitchen, and we figured we would answer your first-time homebuyer questions while sitting in our first-time home. How did you know when it was the right time to look for a home?
I didn't even know she was doing it. Like, I knew she was looking on Zillow, but she was talking to realtors, and one weekend we looked at like a dozen houses.
From his perspective, he's like, whoa, next thing you know, I was looking at a dozen houses. But from my perspective, I was like, hey, you wanna look for a house? We wanna start looking for houses? And he's like, yeah, I think we can start looking for houses. So the way I am, I'm like, all right, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. I got a realtor, I've got a schedule, let's go do it. So I take it very seriously. We started the process in June of 2018. So we moved to Austin in May of 2018, and then we had a realtor in June, the next month. And then we didn't really get serious about the process until January, because that's when we started to really see houses that we really liked, and we're like, okay, maybe we should get pre-approved. And that was one of the questions they were asking about, whether you should get pre-approved prior to looking. I don't think you should immediately. I think you should just start the process and be honest with your realtor and let them know that, like, hey, we're just starting the process, we're trying to learn what we can. You're gonna wanna see, you know, what location you wanna live in, and check out the school districts, just all the stuff. All of your, you know, your list of non-negotiables, you need to kind of figure that out. Because once you're pre-approved, I think it only lasts like 30 or 60 days. Don't quote me, but it doesn't last a super long time. What were your home buying non-negotiables? What did you know you wanted in a house? I think we each had different non-negotiables. What were yours?
Yeah, for me, I wanted to be bikeable, so just something that wasn't too far. And I wanted a yard, because we've lived in apartments for, you know, the last like 3 or 4 years, and it's just ready to do some yard work and just to make something that's mine.
You're ready for yard work?
Yeah.
Quoting you on this, you're on camera, you're saying this now. We also wanted a yard for Luna. So that was also one of my non-negotiables. I wanted a yard, a backyard with a fence, so Luna could play outside. My number one non-negotiable was that the lighting was good. I needed natural light, big windows, lots of light coming in, because the light really affects my mood. And I noticed that in my apartment, our floors are really dark and we only have one big window. So like when it's dark and Luna's like trying to, what are you doing? When it's dark, I start to feel really sad. So I really wanted a house that had a lot of natural light. And so we got that. And then the second thing was location. We wanted it to be bikeable, and that was really important to us, having it in a decent location. We didn't move to Austin to live way out in the middle of nowhere. So lastly, I didn't know this was a non-negotiable for me until I encountered a house that didn't have it. And that is a big open floor plan with an open kitchen. We visited one house and the kitchen was like this tiny little, like I felt like I was back in New York. I'm like, this is not what I want.
A big closet.
It looked like a closeted kitchen. So
Size of a bathroom.
I was like, nope, that's a non-negotiable. Location, kitchen, and lighting. Did you find that it makes more sense to purchase a home in Austin rather than rent? My answer for that is that it depends on what you are looking for and how your lifestyle is. Like, I can't tell you whether you should rent or buy. Everyone's priorities are different. I know that for our lifestyle, we really wanted to have more space, and we wanted to invest in ourselves versus paying money to an apartment complex. It's never guaranteed like whether you're gonna make a ton of money off your house or whatever. We didn't buy this because we're trying to like make a ton of money when we sell it. We bought it to really live in it. But like obviously we hope that it appreciates over time, and that, you know, Austin in general is a great city to invest in. It has a thriving economy. There's really big companies here like Google, Facebook, Oracle, and they're all bringing so many jobs. And also Austin got #1 city in America to live in for the 3rd time in a row. I second that, because it's just like a great quality of life here, much different than where we've lived in the past. How did you determine your budget?
I mean, there's tools like a mortgage, like mortgagecalculator.org or whatnot, and that kind of give you a little rundown of what you're getting into. But like ultimately, when we started going through the process, we only based our budget off of one of our incomes, because we didn't want to like fall for the trap of like, oh, the both of you make X amount, so you can afford this, because that's kind of, it can be kind of a trap.
My uncle told me, don't ever go for what the lender says you can afford. Assume you can afford less than what he says. So we're like, we're gonna be super safe and just get approved on one of our incomes, and then that way we know like we're really safe. Your lender's gonna give you advice on that, but I would still say to be really safe, make sure that you're comfortable with what the full monthly payment is, including your insurance, your taxes. Like in Austin, property taxes are insane. Make sure you're okay with that, in addition to all your other expenses not even related to your house. What are tips for finding a good realtor and lender? I would say shop around and don't be afraid to ask questions, and just really make sure it's a good fit for you, because you know, ultimately this person's gonna help place you in the house that you're gonna be in for years down the road. So you wanna really, really vibe with them. And then also for a lender, you should definitely shop around and get different quotes from them. Also, if you're worried about getting dinged on your credit, if you're shopping with lenders within like a 30-day period, they will count that as just one hit versus like multiple lenders, because your credit card will like acknowledge that you're looking for a house. How did you stay positive throughout it all?
I'm a very positive person, but buying a house is stressful. You know, there's disagreements, there's wants that are out of your means, like financially. So a lot of times we'd look at a house and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is it. It could go. Like we need to put an offer down. But if one of us wasn't feeling it, like just speaking up and really, you know, just like making a list of what are all the pros and cons and really talking through those, and just making sure that you both are going to be happy, or if you're doing it yourself, that it's right for you, I think is super important. But know that there will always be another house out there, and no house is perfect.
Yeah, there were definitely houses that we really liked before landing on this one. Ultimately, we only ended up putting an offer on this house. So I do know people who put down offers and don't end up getting the house, and like luckily it didn't happen to us. We got the house that we really wanted. But there was another house we really liked that was like way over our budget, and we were like, well, this is a house we can grow into. But looking back, I'm like, the lighting wasn't good. It was like too excessive. There was a washer and dryer on the first and second floor.
It was too much.
I'm like, this is like for your second house, not your first
like
house.
Stretching our financial budget. So like we started, you know, kind of opening our eyes too much and just thinking, oh, we can make it, but we don't need it.
Yeah, the number one thing, stay in your budget, because like your mortgage is gonna stay with you. So don't stretch yourself too thin. We definitely didn't. We made sure to be responsible. What do you wish you knew before you started looking?
It's kind of interesting because sometimes, like we went with a, you know, one that was newer, that was currently being, you know, constructed. So for me, seeing this, I kept on thinking like, I want to know what the yard's going to look like. Like where exactly is the fence going to be? Like, is it going to be grass? Is it going to be gravel? Like what are the key details, kind of the outside piece?
When it's a new build, you don't always know how it's going to look when it's finished.
And even like renderings can be different than the final output. So that is just something that I would keep in mind if you care about those things. Going into it, kind of knowing what my non-negotiables were, I think would have been better, because I think it took us a while. It took us a while to get to those. And at first, you know, everything, we basically wanted everything, and we had to like kind of through a couple months.
I want an open kitchen and good
things.
lighting, and I want a big master bedroom, and I want a walk-in closet. We decided walk-in closet was not on our list of non-negotiables. So guess what? We don't have a walk-in closet, but that's okay.
Yeah. What did you wish you knew?
There's nothing that I wish I knew, because I feel like we did. Luna, excuse me. There's nothing I really wish I knew, because I feel like we were very thorough. Like you have to agree, we were pretty thorough. I was pretty thorough.
She's very thorough.
I'm very thorough. I would say if you are getting a new build versus an older house, or one that's already done, there's some questions about what's it gonna look like. And if you're comfortable to not quite know what the end result's gonna be, then you know there's a lot of pros and cons. So this kind of goes into our next question. Why did you choose a brand new build versus an older home and renovating? We definitely toyed around with, you know, picking an older home that was in like a really, really central location to downtown Austin. But ultimately, I'm not a DIY person. Second thing is I don't have an imagination for like how this old house look when we knock down that wall and like change the counters. 3, I'm not patient enough to wait for that. There's a lot of reasons why we didn't go with an older house. There's a lot of unknowns, like if your water heater.
Well, I'll just take it from here.
Okay.
So Jules is very, how would I say, like if there's something in the kitchen that is like ruining like the feng shui of the room or whatnot, or something that's a little messy, it'll totally throw her off. So we know that if we did a project where we got an old house and we were like renovating, and it would take several months to do that, she would just be like unable to concentrate the whole time. She's at home working there and she's kind of stuck in that environment. I know it would just drive us both crazy by the time I got home. That was something that we said, hey, let's not even deal with that. And then buy a place, that has a new roof, that has a new water heater, that has, doesn't have like a foundation problem.
I don't really think we ultimately spent more. I think the new house ended up being a lot more affordable if you're willing to live like a mile or two further than what you wanted. If you want to live in downtown central Austin, that's a great area to invest in. And we have friends who have invested there, and that's amazing.
But it's a lot.
But it's very expensive. So like you have to be ready for that. You have to just kind of find what fits your lifestyle. I don't have enough patience to renovate a house is what it kind of comes down to. I would recommend anyone who's building a new house to stop by as often as possible, because they're gonna be doing things and you might not like the way it looks, or you might notice a quality issue, and it's your right as the owner to point those things out and get them fixed immediately. Like we had something that was splitting in one of our wood beams and we wanted that fixed, so they immediately replaced it. So I think it's important to be present for the process, and don't be afraid to call things out, because it's your house and it's gonna be your problem that you're gonna have to pay for and fix if it's not fixed before closing time. How much did you have to save / how did you save while renting? We did not want to pay PMI, and a PMI is private mortgage insurance, which basically is an added additional monthly fee that you're paying to your lender if you're not hitting 20%. And that's money away from your principal, which is like your house payment. So we really didn't want to pay that. If you're putting down at least 20% of the house, which I know is a lot, if you're able to do that, then you can avoid PMI. So we avoided PMI. How did we save while renting? One person would take care of expenses and everything from our lifestyle.
And then one person would just save.
One person will just like shovel money into the savings as quickly as possible for the down payment. That worked for us personally. Not everyone can live off one income, but for us it worked. That's how we were able to save really quickly. We are paying for this house completely on our own. We don't have help from our families. And if you do have help from your family, that's amazing. We were able to make it happen. And that's because we both work really hard and we're responsible with our finances, and we were able to create a system that would work to help us save up what we needed in time to put the down payment.
Budgeting is important, and a lot of times, you want to go out and enjoy life, you want to eat food, see movies and whatnot, and we'll look at each other and we'll be like, can we go to Alamo and watch a movie? And be like, well, let's look at the budget. And then we plug mint or whatever. It's all about enjoying life and knowing what the end goal is, for the house or a car or whatever that may be.
How did you figure out what you can afford considering maintenance needs and general home expenses? Well, we haven't moved in yet. We don't know what maintenance is gonna happen, but we assume that, I think the general equation is assume that you're gonna pay 1% of the home price in maintenance per year. So we're like, okay, it is what it is. Owning a home, there's certain upkeep that you're gonna have to pay for, and that is that, and we're gonna have to be ready for it.
There's definitely gonna be surprises, I would say, but looking online and kind of trying to make your own spreadsheets or compare with other ones that are out there, just trying to understand what is the monthly payment gonna be for certain kind of things, and we've been kind of surprised that home insurance is less than we thought, comparing that to our car insurance. So we're still learning as we're going, but if you're thinking oh my gosh, I'm scared that potential maintenance or whatnot might keep me from being able to live the best life that I want to live, maybe the house you're looking at is kind of out of your price zone.
Andrew, what's been your favorite part about this whole process?
We were first coming and we were kind of seeing it being put together. The walls were up, but they were doing lighting fixtures and putting the floors in and stuff. And just Jules and I deciding where are we gonna put things? Where are we gonna store things? How can we maybe build more storage in the garage, or what's the outside landscaping going to be like? Where's a little patio going to be? That stuff to me is really exciting because I love being hands-on, and the idea of making something in the garage that can hold paddle boards or something, I'm really looking forward to.
My favorite part of this process has just been imagining our future together and just imagining seeing, you know, how we're gonna make this house our own, moving furniture into it, and also just seeing Luna play outside, hosting parties, having guests over in our backyard, just imagining our quality of life once we have a house finally.
What's one thing that you would do differently after, you know, we went through this process?
I wouldn't have spent so much time worrying about the sprinkler. What would I do differently? I was gonna say, like, I wouldn't launch a program, get engaged, and close on a house in the same year. But at the same time, like, I wanna be engaged and get married, so like I wouldn't change that. And I wanted to launch my program, so I wouldn't have changed that. So like really, you just kind of roll with what life throws at you, and it's all exciting things. So I'd say my biggest word of advice is to don't feel like you're ever inconveniencing anybody with your questions. Ask as many questions as you want, you know, be as detailed as you want. Don't feel bad about it. It's your house, and it's gonna be something that you're gonna be living in for years down the road. So you have every right to ask questions and feel comfortable about the decision and the money that you're putting into this investment. So don't ever feel bad about asking questions.
She asks a lot of questions.
If you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house, then yeah, you ask all your questions. Thank you all for listening. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I tried to answer as many of the questions that you guys had. Yeah, we really are excited to move into the house and close really, really soon and get a move on. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a comment down below if you like this video.
Bye.
Bye.